going to talk about our TLC faculty fellowship. We did it for the first time last summer as a pilot and focused on OSCQR. And we will repeat it again, if all goes well, this summer to do it a second time. So we had a number of goals, largely around improving student outcomes, student engagement, and engaging faculty in best practices for online course design and teaching. And I really wanted to spark more interest on our campus around OSCQR. But also encourage faculty collaboration and really establish our teaching and learning collaborative as a center for faculty to support them and help them be successful. I also had this aspirational goal of having OSCQR reviewers that could participate on new grant-funded projects whenever there's a significant amount of online content. And so the way that the fellowship is designed is in sort of 4 phases. The learn phase, which is a 1.5 to 2 hour workshop with Alex talking about OSCQR and the OSCQR review, refresh and review processes. And then we have a 1-week intensive, immersive experience where the faculty are self-assessing a course and then doing a peer review, and then brainstorming how they can take that information from the OSCQR review information and thinking about how to execute it. We're doing many workshops about topics that they're interested in, and then the deliverable for that week is an action plan of the top 10 things that they want to work on improving. At each point, we ask for some feedback. And so at the end of that first week, we ask about the fellowship experience, and what we could improve and what they enjoyed and all of that sort of thing. And then they go on to work independently on completing that action plan. They're welcome to come back and collaborate in the TLC if they'd like to, but for the most part, faculty work on their own. And the deliverable at that point is a refresh course and then documentation, the evidence of the refresh and what they've learned so that they can earn that OSCQR reviewer certification. And then finally, they apply what they've learned. They teach that refresh course. And again, we collect feedback about their observations and what steps they're going to take next to continue to use OSCQR to improve their courses. And one of the things we look for as a bonus is, and faculty have done, is apply those new approaches to other courses beyond the course they're required to do as part of the fellowship. Now, I've added some little stars here and there throughout the presentation, because the last time I did this presentation, someone said, hey, we're having a really hard time getting faculty to want to review courses, and how do you do that? And I didn't give a really good answer the last time. So I really wanted to talk a little bit today about the fact that during that first week, the very first day we had a kickoff day, we had lunch together, we had breakfast, and we spent a lot of time kind of building a sense of community and good group dynamics, and recognizing the fact that there's a lot of vulnerability and risk-taking involved in having a peer review your course, taking a really in-depth look at your online course, and then the trust and respect necessary to get good feedback from one another. And that was a really key component of the experience overall. So to promote the session, we had a flyer, and the couple of things that the faculty let us know that were important to them and the reasons that they signed up was, again, improving outcomes and increasing student engagement. That was really key to a lot of them. And while there was a stipend involved, at least one faculty member was like, I don't care about the money. I really want a better course. I want to improve student engagement. This flyer linked to some fellowship details that were fairly extensive, that laid out everything that they needed to know about what they were going to have to do and when, and kind of worked as a playbook even for me to go back and make sure we were doing what we needed to do and when we needed to do it. And so the result there was that we had 11 applicants from 5 different academic divisions apply. The focus, again, of course, was on the OSCQR quality review process. And from that, we ended up with 6 faculty fellows from 4 academic divisions, and they are all now certified OSCQR reviewers. We, as I said, collected a lot of feedback all throughout. much more than is shown here, but everyone said that the time involved and the overall experience, they were either satisfied or very satisfied. And again, one of the key things about it was this idea of being able to work with their peers from other divisions and build community. And that was really beyond the aspects of Oscar, but really fundamental for them to feel comfortable giving each other feedback and accepting the feedback that they're given. And so some of the successes was this immersive cohort experience, this idea of building relationships. And then some other successes was the fact that they went on, almost all of them went on and took what they learned and applied it to other courses. One faculty member didn't just refresh the one course, but she did 6 courses. And so I thought that was really good. One of the course refreshes believes anecdotally that it has improved student retention. And so there's a number of things that we're going to do to improve next time. One of the big ones was providing more coffee. And so we're doing all those things right now and trying to get funding to make this an ongoing fellowship that can be applied to Oscar. And then hopefully, I'm looking at, can we use Oscar to tweak it a little bit to apply to things like high flex courses and hybrid and other modalities. And so that's it. I'm not going to take questions because I know how Karen needs to present as well. But if you have questions, pop them into the chat or feel free to email me and I'd be happy to answer them. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you, Doris. I just want to mention that Doris reported that Oscar has empowered their first cohort of faculty fellows to self-assess, review each other's courses, and achieve certification as Oscar reviewers. And this was a meaningful collaboration with SUNY Online that's not only strengthened their Oscar fellowship program, but also enhanced their capacity to maintain high standards in online course design and quality. And one of their own Oscar faculty fellows said that Oscar was a deep dive that increased her awareness of the strengths and weaknesses in her online course from the perspective of teaching and learning, and that she gained valuable experience and made several changes and additions aimed at improving the student experience and success. This program excels in building a community of online practitioners, fosters collaboration, and enhances online course quality. Adirondack has demonstrated exceptional commitment to improving online course design and faculty development, and we proudly present the inaugural Institutional Excellence Oscar Award to SUNY Adirondack. The recipient is Doris Ostrander, the coordinator of the Teaching and Learning Collaborative for the SUNY Adirondack TLC Faculty Fellowship Program for creativity in implementing Oscar institutionally to improve online education and learner success. A big round of applause for SUNY Adirondack. Thank you. The next, Karen Caldwell. Dr. Caldwell, are you there to talk a little bit about your project?
Yes, I am. All right, folks. Oops, you don't need to see my reappointment information. Here's how not to present online. I just wanted to demonstrate that first. Oh boy.
Karen, online there's like 2 black boxes covering up your presentation. It might be the Zoom toolbar.
Okay, how about now?
No. There's one more little one that's, oh, okay. Yeah,
Sharing.
sometimes it's better to do that.
How's that?
No, we still have it covering a lot.
That's bizarre. I don't have anything on my screen. Let's see. Can you see the screen better now?
It's not ideal like this, but if you leave it like that and zoom it in, then we could see it better.
Okay, excellent. I just shared in a PDF of the presentation, so maybe that will be helpful as well.
Yeah.
Let me try the application window too. Here we go. All right, does that work?
We're still waiting for it to show. It says you're sharing, but it's not showing.
Okay, I have a message that says participants can now see your application.
Try and click through.
Okay,
Might not be covering as much as we think it is.
okay. Hmm.
All right, we're gonna go with it.
Okay. Hi, folks. I will quickly walk you through some examples of how I'm implementing OSCQR as a system in several of my courses. And just as an aside, I lived and worked overseas in higher ed for over 20 years, and I was really well versed in the OSCQR system because A, it's free, and B, it's really high quality. So it has withstood the test of time, and it's really well respected in many, many circles around the world. So it was great to be joining SUNY Potsdam, which I did in 2019. And as part of this program, we were asked to identify the problem that we were addressing with our entry. And so for me, typically it's about the epidemic of disengagement that I've experienced among my students in higher ed. And I'm going to focus first on the problem in that for students, more than half indicate that they're likely to struggle with staying engaged and interested. And for instructors, which is equally important, over 2/3 identify keeping students engaged as a challenge. And digging through the data from the Canadian newspaper, the Globe and Mail, because this is going on in Canada as well, students are widely looking for a career-connected educational experience that teaches them real-world skills and experiences. And students are also focused on finding jobs after graduation, and they want to know that their education is preparing them for that. So I think of the work that I've set up for my students with OSCQR as a bridge between our coursework, which you see on the right, and the real life application and relevance for the students in the relevant courses that I teach. OSCQR is also an opportunity, and you've probably noticed that I'm calling it a system rather than a rubric or a tool. It's really a wraparound system that I've come to understand it as, because it's not just the tools, it's also the practices that are based on research, but also best practices that work for online teaching and learning. And as I've mentioned before, it's this bridge between authentic content in our courses and authentic activities. So I'm going to start with the authenticity of the materials. So this semester, I have suggested to my advanced instructional design students that they enroll in this webinar series and go for whatever qualification they want to try. And several of my students opted to do this and are really excited about it, really enjoying it so far. At the same time, I have the students build their skills for building in learning management system by completing several modules in the SUNY DLE Brightspace Fundamentals course, which is not normally for students, but Jamie Heron of SUNY PD, SUNY Central, was really kind and enrolled all of my students in this resource as well. So getting back to the opportunity, and now the authentic activities, I'm just going to talk you through the a few of the activities that I've been implementing, and I'll give you two examples. The first set of examples are from two online master's programs and courses. The first is Advanced Instructional Design, and that is for master's students, but also students taking our Advanced Certificate in Learning Design. And another course called Online Education, and that is for a wider scope of students. So I have students from really varied backgrounds, including HR, for example. And then another example at the end is from the Online Pedagogy course, which I'm one of the teachers of as a faculty member, and that is offered to our faculty, and we've offered that since 2020. So the first example is I talk students in my online education course through first getting familiar with the rubric itself. They will have just explored the community of inquiry in the three presences. So I have them look through the rubric to see if they can find evidence of a quality standard that relates to any of those three presences. So it's a way of connecting new content, which is OSCQR, to prior knowledge, which is the important course content of the community of inquiry in the presences. So they build that familiarity, they start to establish connections, and very importantly, they recognize that much of OSCQR is directly related to evidence-informed frameworks like the community of inquiry. Then I have them in the following week in a discussion forum, they share their surprises and takeaways of exploring the rubric itself, and then share what they did find in terms of the community of inquiry presence. And then they spark conversation after that about what measurement means in terms of measuring what the community of inquiry stands for, those three presences. So after that, they experience an online mini course outside of our learning management system. And in this case, it's a digital literacy course called Check Please. And it's about, oh, I won't go into details. We don't have a lot of time. So they experience this mini course for a real purpose. And then they go back and have a look at that course and evaluate it with Oscar in mind. And I identify standard 31 as the most important one for them to apply, because if I had them do all of the standards, it would be too much. They'd have cognitive overload. So I tell them which standard to use, and then they evaluate that mini course that they have experienced. So after this experience of getting familiar with Oscar, connecting it to the community of inquiry, sharing their take in a discussion forum, and then applying Oscar, they then have the choice of choosing the Oscar system to evaluate any online education resource that they choose. So that's a project they have that's over a couple of weeks where they look at any other online education resource. Could be a MOOC, it could be any other course, and they evaluate it entirely using a rubric of their choosing. And I will say more than 50% of the students chose Oscar because of the reasons that you see here. Its connection to best practice, but also the research. And then for my online faculty fellows course that I teach, we just finished it. It's a 4-week course to familiarize faculty with the Oscar framework and the rubric. We use the tool Perusall, which is available to all of us in SUNY. It's a social annotation tool. And you see the instructions up there. I have them go through and just respond to it kind of in a visceral way, surprises, etc., thoughts, questions, itchy brain moments. And then after that, I have them select one of the categories and evaluate our course. So they will have experienced 2 weeks already. This happens in week 3. So they can look back at their learning experiences, choosing just one of those categories and then applying it and sharing it in here. And then I can dive in and comment, and other students can comment on their evaluations as well as their responses, their thoughts and questions. And so those are 2 examples of how I'm adding Oscar into my courses. I'm going to be doing much more as we move on, but I'd be very happy to share my assignments, my learning activity descriptions, all of that. And just reach out to me. You have my email on the screen, and I shared the handout in the chat, and that's it. And the handout also has my resources.
Thanks so much, Karen. Dr. Caldwell reports that her learners have reported deeper learning by applying theory to the implementation of real-life systems like Oscar. They gain meaningful skills through hands-on projects and earn badges, such as the Oscar Reviewer certification, that enhance the evidence of their skills and experiences for their digital portfolio of coursework accomplishments. This program excels in building authentic, transferable skills that connect coursework to real-world applications, and we are very proud to present the first Oscar Program Innovation Award to Dr. Karen Caldwell, who's the Assistant Professor of Business Administration at SUNY Potsdam, for the innovative application of the Oscar rubric and framework to connect coursework to real-world applications. Congratulations, Dr. Caldwell.
Thanks very much. And thanks for all of the great programming and resources you folks have provided. Certainly makes life easier.
Thank you. I'd like to now recognize April Higgins, who is an instructional designer at Delaware Technical Community College with the Individual Achievement Award. And she says of her experience that the Oscar framework really helps her in her role as an instructional designer to work with subject matter experts, as the criteria and associated resources give her a knowledge base and concrete examples to work from. she feels much more prepared to guide new instructional designers on her team in using the OSCQR rubric effectively. And while she may not have all of the answers, she knows that the wealth of resources and the web pages available to help her address questions and define how the criteria can be tailored to fit her institution. OSCQR not only provides structure, but also fosters collaboration, helping her team norm expectations and develop a shared vision of what makes a truly effective online course. We are very proud to present the first OSCQR Individual Achievement Award to April Higgins for her exceptional leadership and efforts in adapting, promoting, and applying the OSCQR rubric at her institution. As an OSCQR reviewer and trainer, April will significantly impact online course quality for the instructional designers, faculty, and students at Delaware Tech. Hi, April.
Hi, I just wanted to say thank you so much, Alex and Erin. You guys were awesome facilitators, and it's been really fun to be a part of this community where everybody is like so willing to share and so committed to making online learning better for everybody. So I just really appreciate this opportunity.
Thank you so much. It's so nice to see your face. Congratulations to all of the new OSCQR award winners. Please join the OSCQR user group and please help us continue to grow and recognize other amazing work that's going on around SUNY related to online course quality. Congratulations to all of the winners and to everyone. Thank you.